Today, we're going to delve into some transformative strategies and issues that I'm seeing regarding packaging in its relationship with plastic. This article from Resource Recycling, dated in April 9th, brings up some good points, but I'd like to expound upon them as they relate to packaging. Now, point number one, inconsistent domestic demand for recycled content. This is spot on. There is a massive hit campaign against plastic in general. You've got companies large and small that are like deer in the headlights. They don't even want to admit that they're using plastic, and that's just nonsense. I truly believe there's a massive opportunity for somebody to take the lead in providing good information that people can use regarding standing tall against the hit campaign. The other thing I want to mention as I wrap up point number one here, nobody really wants to stand up or has the courage to stand up and say the truth. Not the truth from a plastic perspective versus paper, the truth, the data regarding this misinformation, meaning there's so much out there that people just jump on the bandwagon, have no clue what they're saying. There's a gentleman out there, Chris Armit, who's done a nice job. We need to create a community around truth when it comes to plastic recycling, the truth regarding plastic versus others. Number two, recycled content is not a cheap alternative. The impact of high production of virgin plastic versus recycled content. Using virgin grade plastic is so much cheaper to make. They don't have to fuss about getting recycled material. It's easier, it's cleaner, it's faster. The demand for recycled content in their packaging, and it'll always come down to if this is drastically more expensive than what somebody's currently using, they're just not going to do it. Over the last couple of years, especially in some of the overseas factories, there's not a lot of the recycled plastic to be used in packaging products. It's a harder process. Is there a benefit that somebody could really stand behind that makes it worth it? Point number three is the importance of verification and certification. Recycled content, they make it very difficult. And who certifies it? How do you know it's truly been recycled? Who has signed off that it doesn't have any contaminants in there? Again, the lack of knowledge and a lack of leadership in the plastic industry. There's a lot of plastic industry associations that are out there, and you would think that they would be rock solid with facts and details. And they've got some. There's so much going after plastic. You've got companies in general that are very leery of anybody that wants to be that leader because they're afraid of the attacks. I want to form a community to get information together that can clearly inform, teach, guide, show, lead people into making educated decisions regarding their packaging materials. I don't want this to sound that I'm anti-paper or anti-other material. I'm all about whatever's best, meaning best for your application, best for the environment. We've accepted this mediocrity in the packaging space, which opens up a massive opportunity for anybody that wants to be the leader in this space. You can do the same thing. They're certainly doing that in the paper space. And the final point here is when it comes to not just the material that's being used, but the entire life cycle. Let me wrap up this point number four. The life cycle of whatever is used in packaging is way more important than just on the front end. For example, the cost of using plastic, you have to look at not just the material that's used in plastic, but the energy and labor and fuel to make that particular packaging out of plastic. Same has to be done when you're talking about paper. How much energy was it to recycle that? Then what's the cost to the environment to ship it, store it, recycle it, gather it back up? We're not concentrating on the big picture. We're concentrating on plastic's bad, paper's good, glass is good. No, you have to look at the entire life cycle. Chris Armit and others have looked and begun to put together life cycle analyses on different types of packaging. In fact, I've worked with a company called Benchmark. They're a consulting firm that actually has a calculator that can take the intricacies of any kind of packaging and take it from start to finish. You can make an educated decision now on the type of packaging that you use and be willing to stand up and say, this is why we're using this. Again, we live in this society right now of the social media and the unfounded attacks. And we've got these people that are just stating blatant facts that are out there without any documentation, and no one's holding them accountable. We have plenty of documentation, but nobody other than the Christy Armits of the world are actually sharing that information. And that to me is a massive failure. This is a long riff on this article. Great way for people like us to really make a difference, to gather this information together. I hope it's helpful. Thanks.